everybody, welcome to the Joe and Connor's Power Hour Volume 14. Today we're going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con 2024. So there was a number of big announcements, and I guess we'll just talk about the announcements that have been made. So I want to start out with something that I wanted to talk about, Star Trek Section 31, which is Michelle Yeoh's new Star Trek movie. The trailer was released. And it looks pretty shitty, to be honest.
So it's a movie on Paramount Plus, not a show?
Yeah, Paramount Plus is doing a new Star Trek movie starring Michelle Yeoh, but it doesn't look particularly very Star Trek-y. It's kind of a different vibe. It's just sort of in the Star Trek universe.
She deserves better projects. I mean, she was in fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once, Shang-Chi.
Crouching Tiger, a bunch of shit.
Like, come on. Like, to me, here's the thing, okay? I understand Paramount. I understand you mean well. You had your shitty Sonic show that wasn't even Sonic. Then you had, it was more like Wade, Knuckles, and Friends, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then you got, and then you bombed your fucking greatest video game Xbox franchise ever by making the worst TV show known to man.
The Halo show is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I will say I like this angle, and I don't think I think Disney and Warner Brothers should do this more, since Disney, Warner Brothers, and to a lesser extent Paramount are kind of the three big streaming services that do like franchise stuff. Apple and Netflix do this to an extent, but I like the idea of like an IP movie, like a smaller IP movie. Like if they just put like The Acolyte, for example, it was pretty shitty, mostly because of the poor writing and shit, but regardless, that probably would have worked better if it was a more concise, like, 2-hour movie than a 6-hour stretched-out TV series. So I like if you have, like, a kind of a middle-of-the-road idea that doesn't actually need to be 6 hours long. Instead of making it a TV show for streaming, just make it a movie. Like, how much money? They could have cut the budget of The Acolyte in half. Mm-hmm. Filmed half as much and made the script more concise, and it would have just been a bad TV movie instead of a bad fucking long ass show. So that's my opinion on that. They also showed some stuff off about the Penguin. What was your thoughts on the Penguin?
I watched the trailer. DC's kind of swinging for the fences right now. They just keep doing everything right and making me actually want to go to San Diego Comic-Con next year, and just for the DC stuff, because honestly, when James Gunn comes out and just unveils everything, we know Superman's pretty much done filming, we know this comes out in September, and we know Joker's in October. So I mean, honestly, strap yourself in for DC, because they are coming up clutch right now, and every time I see a trailer or marketing for the Penguin, I get more excited. And I like that this one, you open it with Colin Farrell telling you to watch his trailer. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. You know what else I kind of like about the Penguin? It's like a kind of a small-scale spin-off to the small-scale Batman movie. Like, this is why I don't want Robert Pattinson in the DCU. I want the DCU Batman to be, like, jumping over buildings and being larger than life, and then also having a more grounded Batman. Like, that was part of my problem with Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck's Batman was like a superhero in every term and not like a small detective story. So he had to be like jumping up, shooting machine guns, and be super, action oriented. I also like how they're not like, we're gonna give every fucking character a spin-off and do 100 spin-offs. Like, this is just like, what if HBO Max made The Sopranos but with a Batman character? And I'm all for that.
And they also announced
maybe not The Sopranos, maybe more like, Martin Scorsese inspired, which I guess they did with Joker too.
They also announced at the panel that apparently Colin Farrell still is going to play a pretty big role in the Batman 2. Like, I guess he might not be as sidelined as he was in the first movie. So this show is going to elevate him further, so that I think he's going to be great. And one of the things this trailer reveals that I think is kind of crazy they're going to do in the show is, because you do have to introduce the Penguin to a whole new audience, and the first movie set up the idea of what we got with his story, like, being tied to Falcone. There'd been this mysterious role that Mark Strong was going to be playing for a long time, and this trailer confirms that I guess he's going to be young Falcone.
Really?
Like I guess
Mark Strong will be?
Yeah. I guess they're gonna
Mark
put him
Strong. He's the DC villain, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he did Sinestro, and then he did fucking Thaddeus Silva from
Oh yeah, Dr.
Shazam.
Silva, yeah, from Shazam, yeah.
And now he's gonna be in this, and I think he's great. Like I thought he was like a great choice for Sinestro. I honestly wouldn't mind if they like. I want them to cast new people for everything in the DCU, but if they're gonna pull like an old casting, like a missed opportunity casting, and bring him back for another try, I think the one to do it with is Mark Strong as Sinestro, because he was a cool fucking Sinestro, and he's worked with Warner Bros. And DC a lot, and makes for a good villain, so I wouldn't mind that. 2011's Green Lantern, everybody loves it.
Yeah, everyone dug it, right?
Of course, we've heard more about Captain America: Brave New World. I don't think much was new.
There is some new details that I do want to go over that are kind of interesting. So,
okay, let's hear it.
So number one, we hear that that Harrison Ford is going to transform at the podium while giving a speech as Red Hulk, and this isn't mentioned in this article, I think. But one thing I wanted to mention that is con related. One of our theories from when we did our trailer talk on this, was confirmed. Hulk is in this movie to fight Red Hulk. Anthony Mackie started shooting his mouth off, and we're talking a lot about Anthony Mackie in this podcast because he doesn't just get to be in one Marvel topic. He decides to butt his nose into a certain casting announcement that we're going to have to talk about at the end of our podcast for our grand crescendo. And so he mentions, Hulk's in it, Green Hulk, obviously. It's even our next thing on it. Okay, cool.
I think we'll hold off on this one just so people want to, they got to listen all the way ththrough so we can talk about Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, we'll make them wait till the end for it. So basically, vibranium's
him a bit.
Adamantium's in the movie. I guess there's some celestial island and someone's looking for it. I have a theory because in the first trailer we got, Sam's wielding both shields. He's got two, not just one. What if one of them's adamantium? And Ross made it for him to kind of... Because, in the trailer, they're kind of trying to convert him to make a team of the Avengers. What if he's trying to persuade him, hey, I got you a nice, shiny adamantium shield?
Well, I think part of the movie is going to be him trying to convince... Because I think Ross is going to be kind of the main villain of 2024 or 2025 stuff, because he's going to be in this one, and then he's going to be in Thunderbolts, obviously, in a role, since he's, making that team. And I think part of this movie is going to be him trying to convince Sam to come to the Thunderbolts, and then Thunderbolts is going to be kind of the separate conclusion to that. And then, of course, Fantastic Four comes out that year. But we'll talk more about Fantastic Four in a second.
And they also revealed, the last thing with Captain America, they revealed that we finally know the character that Giancarlo Esposito is going to play. And one of his hints he said about his character finally makes sense to me. Because he said he would be in this and then a TV show next. So, you're familiar with all the reshoots they did for this movie before the trailer came out?
Yeah.
Like they changed everything in the movie. So, apparently, I thought he was going to play, like, the new evil Nick Fury, like, in the S.H.I.E.L.D., in this world of, like, Captain America dealing with the world collapsing. I thought it was going to be George Washington Bridge. Now they revealed he's going to be the leader of the Serpent Society. Sideswipe, I guess. Which, I'm surprised because I heard that they hired all these WWE wrestlers when they were first filming this thing to play the Serpent Society. They caught all those motherfuckers, and we have no idea what happened with them. And now the leader of the Serpent is out here.
Maybe they were going to do a larger role of the Serpent Society and then decided to tie it into Thunderbolts and decided to put that on the back burner for a sequel or a TV show or whatever.
My theory is now that we know that Esposito is said to be, he said when he first announced his character would be a badass, he'd appear here, and then he'd appear in a TV show. And I always thought he would be in someone else's TV show. I didn't think he'd get his own. But now I'm getting the feeling that the Serpent Society is a big enough deal that they might do a whole TV show on the Serpent Society. Because if fucking Agatha can get a show, why can't the Serpent Society get a show? I mean, weirder things have happened. And one of the things the last thing I wanted to mention on this is hearing more about his character. One thing I really love is, Sam Wilson is not, like in the first trailer, he's Captain America, but he's not Steve Rogers. Right. So I'm really excited that we have, because I think we're going to have to wait till, the third act to see Red Hulk emerge. And I want Sam to have a foe, because they said it's going to be like Winter Soldier. I want Sam to have an actual grounded foe. Like we saw him in Winter Soldier, he fought Crossbones for a little bit. He could hold his own. He's clearly got some good fight skills. I like that Esposito's character is going to put up, it looks like he's got some knives, looks like he's got some guns. I think they could get some pretty good scrappy hallway duels in this movie that would make it pretty interesting. Yeah. And I think he's going to be cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad we got a grounded foe in here. I don't know really what to think about this whole Serpent Society thing. Is this really good? Is this we're doing this, I guess? We'll have to wait and see. It depends how he is in the movie. If they leave it open, right. You're like, oh man, this version of the Serpent Society is better than the comics and is really badass, then hell, do a show. Let's see more of them. Let's see how the whole team works.
I just don't want them to I think it's I'm scared they're going to use it to retread kind of Hydra's role in Winter Soldier, but it might be what it is. Anyways, we can.
What's the name? We'll skip over that.
Let's keep rolling.
Where's our next article for Comic-Con? Do we have another?
Did they just give up after that? Oh.
I think they just there was other news, but then it's Downey's here, so.
Maybe this one. I'm bad at I could make my own list, but stealing from what good is Polygon if you're not gonna just steal their fucking articles? Mm-hmm. They apparently showed footage from the Thunderbolts, but
I heard it was ass. I heard it was literally.
I'm worried about this one because it's a beat. It's like a bunch of fucking characters that no one cares about. I couldn't fucking care about anyone in it except Winter Soldier, and maybe U.S. Agent's kind of interesting, but I'd rather see them with Captain America than doing shit with Russian Captain America and fucking new Black Widow and blah blah blah. Just meh.
The one thing that's stupid about it is not only they're gonna bring back fucking Ghost from the second worst Ant-Man movie, but they're bringing in what's it called? They're bringing fucking they're gonna bring fucking lame ass Taskmaster and give her an upgrade from fucking Black Widow. Cause that's, I guess, a member of the team that they're doing. It's I
don't know what I think about Taskmaster coming back. I kind of keep forgetting they even used Taskmaster because Black Widow is just kind of a forgettable, underwhelming movie. It was fine, but I don't have a problem with them gender swapping Taskmaster. I could care less, but
I would rather they just be a good Taskmaster.
You just gotta have more. He
was mediocre, and then he was paired up with one of the worst villains in the MCU,
Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I don't remember anything about it. I just remember he was
a
slobby dude who's I like to control women, and it looks like Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, it's okay, we get what you're doing.
That was literally.
We get what you're doing here. And then they also, I guess this kind of ties in, and we probably talk about this later when we talk more about the Doom stuff, but Fantastic Four got a title. Fantastic Four Steps.
So the first steps. So I actually have a theory about this one.
My opinion on this movie still looks awful. You can't convince me otherwise.
That's fair.
I think the casting is fucking lame. And I think what they're going to do is Doom is going to... Robert Downey Jr. is going to play evil Tony Stark. It's 100% his role, but they're going to call him Dr. Doom. And he's going to pay for their voyage into space that gives him powers, and then he's going to accidentally destroy this world, and the Fantastic Four is going to world hop to save the universe.
Well, so I have a theory. So my
That's
theory
the plot of the movie. Mark my words.
Yeah. So I have a theory that Doom is going to play a more significant role than they've let on. They've said it was going to be a cameo, but it's going to be Doom and Galactus. And so I won't talk about the Doom stuff yet because I want to wait till we talk about Robert Downey Jr. But I will say that this movie, it's called First Steps. Now, we've heard rumors that Sue's going to already have her first child in this movie. So my theory is First Steps is revealing to their origin of their powers. First stepping on the moon or stepping into, with the whole astronaut angle. Because the pictures they showed with the panel that went with the supposed footage they showed, even though they had barely shot any of this movie, they showed some behind-the-scene pictures or whatever in the movie. And there's a lot of the space stuff. I have a theory that at the end of this movie, the only good part of this movie, Galactus is going to obliterate the world. These Fantastic Four are not from the current MCU.
Right.
They're going to jump into a different world.
Well, that's what I'm saying is instead of an Iron Man in this world, they have Victor Von Doom, who's literally... He's not going to be Dr. Doom. He's going to be evil Iron Man.
Yeah.
Which I guess let's just talk about it, because I'm...
You want to just get into it? We'll just get...
Robert Downey Jr. was revealed as as Dr. Doom. He's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest paycheck of his life, and so are the Russo brothers. I mean, it's a pretty obvious and fairly desperate course, correct? But I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, they're risking the legacy a bit.
Well, here's what I like about this, okay? And this is what I think is fantastic.
Okay, let's hear it.
So what I think is fantastic about this is, since we've both seen Deadpool and Wolverine, we can say this. They could have easily just done a movie and been like, hey, Secret Wars is coming. Let's just have fucking Iron Man with all the Avengers again, right?
Yeah.
We've seen that before. We've seen Iron Man with the Avengers.
Yeah.
This gives Robert Downey Jr. the chance to, because if you look at Civil War, there's little shades of what his dark side, like, one of my biggest problems with Disney and Marvel that I've noticed over the years is, one of the things I think we're robbed of in the previous Iron Man movies is Disney didn't want to go Iron Man. The reason Iron Man 2 failed is that they went half demon in the bottle. They didn't go full demon in the bottle. If Iron Man 2 was fucking demon in the bottle, it would have been better than the first and the second.
In fairness, though.
Yes.
During the second MCU, the problem with them doing demon in the bottle is...
Yeah.
It's a much harder thing to pull off in the movies, because in the comics... He's like, I'm an alcoholic, and then Rhodey's like, okay, I'm Iron Man now, and you're fucked, so get out of here.
Yeah.
The problem is they rushed Demon in the bottle. They should have done it after, like, Iron Man 3 and had
they
Rhodey take over, then he
waited.
could come back in Infinity War or something.
Which you know,
once Robert Downey Jr.'s kind of tired and wants a break is when you should be doing that, because, like, it was, like, fucking 8 years after that before Tony Stark's like, I'm Iron Man again.
Yeah,
like,
but I think this is what I really like.
It's an impossible storyline to properly, like, really do without it seeming rushed.
But what I really like about this is that, you know, he doesn't just get to come back and cheap off his endgame thing, because you're doing something like Doom. The entire time, the audience might know that this is
Iron Man,
but not everyone is. And one of the things I really like, right? Fantastic Fours are entering the MCU with new heroes that they've never met before.
Yeah.
Right? So here's what I love. I have a crazy theory, okay? So my buddy and I were talking about this at work. So we talk about what you're saying, right? So you have Doom and Galactus working together.
Yeah.
They both enter this new world with the Fantastic Four. The new Avengers, Sam Wilson, everyone, Spider-Man, all our favorite characters. They have to choose between trusting these new heroes and trusting a guy that looks like Tony Stark.
Here's my theory.
In Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I mean...
And what's going to happen is Fantastic Four is going to get fucked. Because the moment that the Avengers see a guy that looks like Tony Stark, it's like, oh, we got this Reed Richards guy. He's kind of smart. But that's Tony Stark.
Dr. Doom is... Yeah, it's going to be...
They're going to trust Tony Stark.
No, I think you're right. He's going to be conniving, but from a Fantastic Four angle, I think what they're going to do... Because so the first thing you got to do is make Dr. Doom from just Dr. Doom to superpowered God Doom.
Yep.
Here's my theory.
I have a theory how they're gonna do that.
Galactus eats Fantastic Four's planet, but Silver Surfer has a change of heart and tries to help the Fantastic Four. And then the Silver Surfer either dies or comes over too, but then Galactus makes Doom his new herald, and then the Fantastic Four somehow escape to the other planet. The Fantastic Four planet's destroyed, blah blah blah.
Dude, if Doom is the new herald, that would fucking rock. Like, can you imagine,
that's how I think they're gonna do God Doom, especially.
Well, here's the other thing. The other thing we're forgetting, because they've included all these characters, because they did all these TV shows and all these movies that they have to tie in certain events from. There's one other way to do God Doom that I think could happen, that they kind of set up at the end of a TV show that's pretty important, especially since they referenced this character in Deadpool and Wolverine.
What's that?
You have Doom take out God of Stories Loki. And he takes God of Stories Loki, and then remember in Ultimate Alliance? And you know, he takes the Odin Force, he takes God of Stories Loki's power. And then he's God Emperor Doom, because he's taken all that power, he's now super powerful, and so it just fits. And so I think that's something that could happen. I also think your thing could happen too. I definitely think, like, I've seen people just dismissing this like this is gonna suck because of the fact that people are skeptical because they're like, oh, I want real Doctor Doom.
I'm
Prime
skeptical
Doom.
because of that exact reason, and here's why. Hear me out.
All right, I'll hear you out.
Marvel, Kevin Feige says, okay, we need a hit. We're just getting fucked right now.
Yep.
Honestly, even the movies that Marvel fans are defending kind of suck.
Fair.
Deadpool and Wolverine was okay, but I mean, it was a cameo movie, and I mean, there was some heart to it. But, like, you know, again, like Deadpool, I think what saved it is the fact that Deadpool's been on the shelf for so long. Like, you can't do another Deadpool, and you can't... Deadpool, I mean, he's going to have to sit on the shelf for a while, which is why it really wasn't even an MCU movie in a lot of ways. True. It had MCU elements, but it was more in the Fox universe and all that to save the Fox universe and blah, blah, blah. But, no, I mean, so they bring back the Russo brothers because they're a popular name, mostly, and they can competently direct, but I also got to say that I don't think the Russo brothers have really made a good film since Avengers Endgame. They've tried a few times,
but that's also
nothing that really made a splash. I mean, I think part of it's that the Russo brothers can take the vision and make it look pretty and put it out somewhat coherently. So I think it's smart, and they've proven themselves to be able to balance a big cast, blah blah blah. So it's fine. I get why they did that, and I think here's my problem. I don't want Doctor Doom, who is pretty much inarguably, besides like maybe Green Goblin or something, Marvel's most famous villain.
Oh, he is, yeah.
And there's a couple villains that might be more famous to the masses than Doctor Doom, like I said, Green Goblin and stuff. But in terms of like the main villain of the Marvel universe, like the be-all, end-all villain, before Thanos, before any of them, was Doom. Yeah. I mean, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man number 12, less than a year, or about a year into Spider-Man's run, Spider-Man just fought Doctor Doom. The Avengers would fight Doctor Doom. Everybody's fighting Doctor Doom, even back in the day.
Yeah.
And Doctor Doom is a character that he's rich and has a metal suit like Iron Man, but otherwise the similarities leave. And why I'm skeptical and why I fear what they're doing is because rather than doing Doctor Doom, they might want to just mirror Iron Man. Like they say, what if you were evil Iron Man? And I think that's the angle they're going, which I think will play well with crowds, but it's kind of like, okay, now we're kind of robbed of the biggest... I mean, you could always do a multiverse and say, oh, there's a real Doctor Doom in the MCU, but if you do Robert Downey Jr. first, it's like, okay, so you're dipping into the Doctor Doom pool.
Well, what I also heard,
they're putting a lot behind this, you know.
I actually heard a rumor that might actually solve your problem. That's pretty interesting. So, did you read both versions of Secret Wars or just one?
I read the original one probably 15 years ago, and I read like half of the 2015 one, and I thought it was awful. So I stopped reading it.
So I heard similar to the main Secret Wars comics that because I've read them both.
Yeah.
There's actually two Dooms that face off in that storyline.
Sure.
For power and corruption. And there's a rumor right now. It's not confirmed, but it's rumored, which is probably, at this point when things are rumored, I mean, all the rumors about Deadpool and Wolverine.
I mean, the problem is who's going to win, though, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want... That's going to put you at a crossroads. Do you pay Robert Downey Jr. $120 million to get back and get beat up by the real Doom? Or is he, you know, what's audience is going to prefer? That's why I think they'd pussy out on that. I think this is supposed to be our Doctor Doom, and...
Well, you know what's really interesting? People have been fighting me on this because I love your idea. I've seen the picture of Iron Man, but when you go to the proper news sites and when you go to when they announced it at Comic-Con, if you watch the video, they don't nobody says even though you could definitely read between the lines and they could be lying to people whatsoever. Variety flat out says in their interview, and I found out in an interview recently that apparently back in the original early 2000s Fantastic Four, before they got whoever the fuck they got to be Doom in those movies, they wanted Robert Downey Jr. to play Doom. And so what I heard was apparently the Russos come out on stage and reveal Downey. They say, not playing evil Iron Man as Doctor Doom, they say Victor Von Doom. And then Variety says Victor Von Doom.
No, I bet you, I know I'm sure they'll call him Victor Von Doom, But what I'm scared is, it doesn't matter what they call him at the end of the day, Evil Tony or Victor Von Doom, but if he just plays Evil Tony Stark, that's not true to the character.
Well, from what I'm gathering, and why I have a little bit more hope, is because I actually, believe it or not, and out of anything, the fact that Downey was if Kevin Feige would have been like, oh, Russo's, I need you, I'd be a little more scared, right?
Right.
But the fact that Downey's like, hey, you did a great job with Iron Man's story by himself, and I'm not doing this unless you're involved. Like before the paycheck was there, the fact that he said I need them tells me there's something between them that they're working on that must be worth salvaging. But
I mean, at the same time, both the Russos and I would be more believing of that if Robert Downey Jr. is like, okay, I'm gonna forgo my paycheck for this awesome opportunity. He's getting paid more than he made in Infinity War and Endgame, which was a massive pile of money, like $100 million or $80 million
I wonder
or
because
whatever.
since
So I mean, I'd fuck it if they're like $80 million. I don't, fuck it. I'll do it.
That's true. But I also think that Downey he said something about this character that about this version of Doom that unlike with he played Tony Stark, he says he really likes complex characters, and he said that, and there's a couple theories out there that after they killed her in Multiverse of Madness, since there's all these different fucking variants of her, there's a theory out there that we might go back to Sokovia in the multiverse, and that the remains of Sokovia could make up Latveria, and that apparently Scarlet Witch would teach a version of Scarlet Witch would have taught Doom this version of Doom sorcery, and then so there could be some connections there.
Sure.
I also think, and this is what I'm really hoping for, because bringing Doom in and paying him all that money is great, but now that we're seeing take Deadpool and Wolverine, not only cameos for the sake of cameos, but now that they've brought in the idea of that they were gonna have these people show up, something I really like the idea of, since we got these cheap ass knockoff new Avengers that nobody gives a shit about, right?
Yeah.
Imagine all these original 6 Avengers as this new, because I've been saying for a long time that Marvel needs to do the Masters of Evil, and they need to stop killing their villains. So imagine a not necessarily Masters of Evil, but imagine more like a Dark Avengers scenario, right? So you bring back Jeremy Renner, you have him as Ronin, just evil, pure Ronin. So he comes back as Ronin, but he's not good. He's not trying to do good things. He's murderous. But he's even more murderous than he was
I don't
before.
know if Jeremy Renner physically could do Ronin anymore though.
You don't think he could physically?
After his snowplow accident. Yeah, I guess.
You could put a stunt double in the suit as long as he looks like Ronin, as long as if he has his mask off for the face reveal.
I mean, you could do Bullseye as Ronin.
But you could do Bullseye.
In Dark Avengers, Bullseye was
you could
Ronin.
do Bullseye.
It was Hawkeye.
And then I think that they've been teasing to it for a while. Even that one Russo Brothers movie, The Gray Man, where you get to see Chris Evans kind of flex his villainous muscles.
Yeah.
I think you gotta, especially with Sam Wilson as Captain America, depending on how long he's gonna stay as Cap, I gotta see Hydra Cap. I gotta see Chris Evans play full out the whole Secret Empire.
Okay, but Secret Empire.
Oh, it's a shit comic.
It was awful.
But I still think that character.
No, it was.
Is so fucking.
It was cool, but the fact that instead of making it like an Elseworld story and not having to be mainline, first off, it was had to be neutered, and then it's Hydra just had a fucking trigger that was able to make him. Why didn't you do that the last 500 times you fought him? Yeah. But anyways, no, I think here's the thing. I know Robert Downey Jr. is gonna do great in the role of Doctor Doom, but I'm hoping he's a great Doctor Doom and not a great evil Iron Man, and that's what concerns me. I think.
So, no, I can see that.
And it also, and I will also say that bringing back the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. not super creative. I mean, let's be honest. It reeks of desperation.
Yeah, and honestly,
and I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. I'm not saying the Russo brothers are gonna do bad. I'm not saying Robert Downey Jr. is gonna do bad. But what I am saying is it reeks of desperation, and I hope that he's not evil Iron Man. Right. But actually Doctor Doom. I want him to just play this character. It's fine if people are like, are you fucking Iron Man? I'm fine if that's the reaction from them, but I don't want him to pretend to, I want Doctor Doom. I want people to.
Here's the way I see it. I want Doctor Doom too, and here's how I see this whole thing playing out. So I see a scene where like we talked about, he trusts the Avengers, right? Doctor Doom, when that mask comes off, he's not gonna have Tony Stark pretty face. he's going to be all scarred up and messed up.
Yeah, of course.
So like, my take is, if he takes off that helmet, and because you can't really change it unless you CGI it, you can't really change Robert Downey Jr.'s face.
I mean,
right?
hopefully makeup and effects and shit.
Yeah, so they could use enough makeup, but it's still going to, at the end of the day, look like Robert Downey Jr. So what I would do is, if the mask, because the mask, hopefully it's not like one of those things because Robert Downey Jr. is such a famous actor, that you have him like take the mask off the entire time, right? Hopefully it's one of those things where it's like the reveal is maybe someone knocks it off or something off his face, and then you see his face, and you got Tom Holland Spider-Man there, you know, because that's like his Uncle Ben from his universe, being Tony Stark. So like, you see him have the reaction to it, you see him have the face, and then you get some dialogue where like he's like Mr. Stark, but then you see Robert Downey Jr. delivers a cold line, and he says, "No child, only doom." And that's where
I'm positive there'll be shit like that in the movie.
And that's what I'm fine.
Assuming Tom Holland's still going. I've heard he's probably back. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he'll come back.
But either way.
Yeah, so I feel like with that, I feel like the best way to look at this is like, there's two cases they go. If they don't go the evil Iron Man route, just play it off where the people that know him and know his face treat it like, to me, that they see like, because in the multiverse you have all these characters that look like.
Here's another theory I kind of had. Pining over it a bit. You know how the slogan that he said was like
new mask, new task,
new mask, different or same task or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like I mean, and I don't think this would be a good angle, but it's an angle they could take. What if he's like a good guy during Fantastic Four, then Galactus fucks up his world, making him evil, and then he's like, well, I want to save this world. And the only way I can do that is if I have like absolute power or some shit. I think that's the angle that might be an angle they go for. I don't know if that's the angle, but
I kind of feel
that's
like,
actually not just something cheesy that they came up with real quick and actually.
I kind of feel like after being in Oppenheimer, that the plan, especially because what I heard they did, and I'm going to do a video on my channel today later about how Jonathan Majors needs to shut his fucking mouth, because he fucking, even besides. Can we talk about fucking Kang for now? Why they have to pivot to this situation? Because, okay, say there was a situation where maybe he didn't hit a coworker or a friend and like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But Ant-Man, Loki, all the times this fucker appeared. You mean to tell me that we're supposed to believe that every single Avenger, Thor, even when Thor was good and powerful like Infinity War, is scared shitless of this dude that can, like, apparently conquer reality when he gets beat up by ants, and Ant-Man can beat him in an MMA fist fight after doing a couple of kickboxing lessons with his girlfriend? He's just like, oh, I sparred with Captain America once behind the scenes. I can take Kang.
I mean,
like,
that was my in-theater reaction. I'm like, he's got to kill, like, fucking Hank and then be like... turning around, but then the fact that you see Paul fucking Rudd of all people literally kick the fucking shit out of Kang when he has no power, when neither of them powers, is unreal to me.
Without pim particles, like fuck?
Like Thanos. I mean, even when the first, and this is important in establishing the stakes of Infinity War. One of the first shots of Infinity War is Thanos beating the fuck out of Hulk without using any powers. He was Thanos beating the fuck out of the Hulk because he could.
I heard that they still recast Kang, but he's not the main villain. So what I'm really hoping is, like, you do the variant where, like, from the Secret Wars comics, you have the Beyonder Kang, right? And so they do the variant of the Beyonder. First 5 minutes of Avengers Doomsday. Doom just does what he does to God Emperor Doom does what he does to Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Rips out Kang's fucking spine, takes all his fucking powers. No more Kang.
See, but that's a waste to Kang, because Kang's a good character. They already tried to waste Kang.
Fucked him up, bro.
Here's the angle they should do. Jonathan Majors remains fired. Don't bring him back. It's fucking stupid. His character wasn't that good. And
Darth Vader wannabe-ass bitch.
Wait like 5 or 6 years until everybody forgets about Kang. Kind of like people did with the Leader in The Incredible Hulk, you know? And how, because isn't the Leader supposed to come back or something?
Captain America 4, he's in it.
Yeah, he's part of the cast of Captain America 4. So, put Kang on ice for like 5 years till everyone forgets about it. Recast him, and then you could bring him back for like a standalone Avengers movie, like, you know, but maybe not like a Doomsday. I also, like, why are they going right into another Doom? Why can't there just be like they should have done like a smaller scale new Avengers movie before they hopped right into the we're desperately gonna try to top ourselves.
Well, so apparently they had Kang, apparently Kang Dynasty, which I still think was a stupid title.
They're gonna have to pay Jesus Christ himself $100 million to show up in the next movie to top Iron Man, or to top Robert Downey Jr. coming back. Like they've accelerated it, and then people are gonna love these two Avengers movies probably, whether they're good or not, and then they're gonna have to like come up with more or reboot.
Yep.
I think at the end of Secret Wars though they said they're soft reboot.
They said they're rebooting it. So what I like, this one theory that someone had that I really like, is why you bring in, because you got Avengers 5, and then after Avengers 5 you have Secret Wars. Now after Secret Wars, they've said it's still happening, said they're gonna reboot it. What I like is in Endgame, Tony Stark is the simultaneous person that started, let alone Robert Downey Jr. as an actor, started the MCU. His movie kicks it off. Then he saves the entire multiverse. Well, not multiverse, but he saves basically all of the universe by repopulating everyone on Earth. By literally snapping his fingers and taking out Thanos. So the guy that saved the universe is now the person to tear it all down.
Well, I mean, Secret Wars 2015, awful comic book. So was the original Secret Wars, frankly. I mean, there was cool stuff in both, but you know, as a story, they're actually both pretty mediocre.
I think that's kind of good that those stories are mediocre, because that gives them a lot of material. Because if you have like the idea of that this shit stuff,
don't do what they did in the fucking comics. Make it something more. But what they could do is, you know, they could just, you know, soft Crisis on Infinite Earths it like they did in the comics with the 2015 one, where you can, you know, be like, oh, Doctor Doom's repopulating, some elements will change and some will stay the same, and anyone who wants to stay on the boat, you know, it's a soft reboot, they can stick around, anyone younger or whatever, and then some people are going to have to get cut, and then all of a sudden there's a new guy, it's Steve Rogers and fucking whatever. Because I think the multiverse is also, in part, this multiverse obsession is trying to set people up for the inevitability that you're going to have to just recast Iron Man and Captain America one day. Though I also think that kind of is contradicted by the fact that they brought Hugh Jackman back and left Hugh Jackman alive and all that so that they could potentially use him more in the future. I think they're going to be a little more sparing. Like, I think Hugh Jackman's going to be I think he's going to be on reserves for, like, Avengers movies or, like, big shit. I don't imagine him popping up in Agatha all along or whatever.
No, he ain't going to be in that shit.
Called. No, I wasn't meaning literally, but I think he's going to be a big gun, so to speak. Because I don't foresee them being able to put Hugh Jackman in the You're Constantly Wolverine cycle they did in the early 2000s, or Fox did. But yeah, no. I mean, I have mixed feelings. I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to do very good. But I fear that we're going to get an MCU'd Doctor Doom, and by MCU'd, I mean, even when they do a great job with the protagonists, sometimes they just fuck up when they're trying to do the villains. And not even necessarily, like, fuck up like it's the worst thing. But sometimes, like, Taskmaster. Yeah, I mean, Taskmaster was fine for what she was in the movie, but she wasn't Taskmaster. And Taskmaster, I mean, people were mad when they fucked him up, but if you do a super inaccurate Doctor Doom, that's a whole nother level of you know. But yes, I think at the end of Secret Wars, all the worlds will merge, and then basically Fantastic Four will be like retconned into always being part of the MCU, but whatever. Anyways, do you have any more thoughts on that, or should we move on to our next topic?
Feel like I feel like right now I see a lot of people judging based on what we're seeing, but I feel like I did a great video that's almost at 718 views, and I really do think that, look, I'll be honest with you guys, play this from the right angle. I've seen people say this is the wrong move, because there's the people that are denying that the MCU isn't hurting, and I'm gonna be real with you. Look, Deadpool and Wolverine as a cameo fist is making a lot of money right now, and that will hold them over for a little bit, but what I'm telling you is, it's not going to last forever.
No, and I think Cameo Fest movies also, you know, I think they pulled that straw hat off and people are liking it again. The thing is, they went on different angles with the multiverse every time to mix success.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think it would be like if you made Spider-Man 4 and there was a surprise moment when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield pop up again. Like you can't do the same fucking trick 1,000 times and expect people to want to see it. And that's what I fear about the Cameo Fest. Because if they do Secret Wars and it's like, oh my god, Nicolas Cage. Actually, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider would probably sell fine. But you know what I mean. Also, they're doing that Spider Noir show. Do you hear about that?
I did hear about that, yeah.
And for legal reasons, they can't call him Spider-Man or Peter Parker, so they call him
But it's made
Ben
by
Reilly.
Sony. Well, actually, no, it's not, because they have the Amazon angle.
Yeah, I think Amazon's more... I think Amazon and Sony are, like, in charge of it.
Yeah.
Sony scares me, but Amazon is kind of okay. And
I mean, they did The Boys.
The Boys is pretty shitty.
Yeah. I heard the last season wasn't great, but
I've never really cared for The Boys, but hopefully that's cool. Anyways,
I feel like I feel like the final angle I was trying to make was just the fact that like I said, the Cameo Fest movie, it's fun. It lasts you for a little bit. You can do something, but you need something tangible, something that really is going to get people really to be invested. Make a good story that people care about and that they actually want to see. And what Marvel needs, and I've said this for a long time, Marvel needs a lot of things, but what Marvel needs right now more than anything is and I won't even say that this villain is that great, but there has not been a single villain that has any of the level of impact or gravitas that they've had with Thanos, and I still don't even think Thanos is that great. Like, I would have preferred Thanos to be more menacing than the way that they made him. But I'm still thinking, like, when you look at the grand scheme and you look at, like, the villains, right? He could have been even more similar to how he is in the comics, a lot more deathy and crazy. And, like, I still think they did a pretty good job with him overall. And when you look at the bar and you look at how everything's set up now, the other way how after Endgame, they need another, like, I will say this.
I'm more scared about what Kevin Feige and Disney and Marvel are going to force Robert Downey Jr. to do over what Robert Downey Jr. is going to do. Because I hope Robert Downey Jr. approaches this as a totally different character. Because I like Robert Downey Jr. a lot as an actor. He needs to approach this as, Iron Man's out my head. I'm blocking Iron Man off. And we're going to look into Doctor Doom, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, so I've been down
because what scares me is the fact that they picked Iron Man for Robert Downey Jr. or Robert Downey Jr. for Doctor Doom is twofold. One, Robert Downey Jr. sells tickets, and two, Iron Man wears a mask, and so does Doctor Doom, and they're both rich, so they're the same character. That's what dumb executives think.
Well, here's what I'm looking at the angle. I'm looking at this more of like, and hopefully this was like a group decision, and they all kind of came to terms that hopefully, like, no matter what version Marvel tries to spin it, hopefully Robert Downey Jr. realizes that there's enough that he wants to do with it. Because the angle I'm thinking about, there's a lot of things about Doctor Doom that only Doctor Doom true fans know, that I think that Robert Downey Jr. checks all the boxes that Iron Man doesn't. So you got the billionaire thing, you got the money, right? Let's take that off the suit. You got the metal suit, take that off.
Yeah.
Iron Man doesn't have sorcery. Doctor Doom has access to sorcery. He's not just blasting lasers and flying. There's more to him in terms of what powers he can possess, and the fact that he can get other people's powers if he chooses. But also, another thing that people forget, and this isn't even something I had to do deep research on that is very passionate to Robert Downey Jr., that you didn't get to see a lot with Iron Man, because Iron Man just runs around, pew pew, fly, shoot missiles, whatever, right? Well, I heard that, I think it was actually recently, after Endgame, Robert Downey Jr. went and got his black belt in Wing Chun Kung Fu. Oh, cool. And they don't always show it in the comics because they want to make everything grandiose and crazy, and how do you sell that against crazy people? But now they got people like Shang-Chi and Daredevil who are definitely going to join this fight. I think having Robert Downey Jr. in the suit, kicking some crazy dudes and just doing some awesome things, I think would be really awesome.
They bring back Iron Fist, and he's the one who takes him down. He does the killing blow.
Yeah. I mean, if they finally get Iron Fist right, that'll be great. I still think they're making Shang-Chi Iron Fist. Like, I just feel like ever since they saw the movie,
I think they're dumping Iron Fist. I think they're gonna have cameos to bring up goodwill because people want it to be the same show. Because for a while, Marvel's plan was just to pretend Netflix wasn't canon, and then after everybody's like, "That's fucking stupid," they're like, "Okay, it's canon." Sorry. Because I think the only like Marvel TV show pre-WandaVisions that are still considered canon are the Netflix shows. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff aren't even considered canon anymore. as far as I know. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just hoping. I'm hoping. I don't know. I think me as more of a cynical person than a lot of people. I'm just sick of the gimmicks. Just pick someone to play a good Doctor Doom. Like, I would have been fine with that. And like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, and that's exciting, and that makes headlines. But it's like, the gimmicks are exhausting, man. And even Deadpool, I saw it, and I was like, this is fine. And I'm sure I'll say the same thing about those Avengers movies. But it's like, yeah, okay. They did the gimmicks. They did the thing that everybody wanted them to do. Like, no one's surprised anymore because they realize surprising people isn't actually what sells tickets. It's doing what everybody tells them they should have been doing. Which, I mean, it's a mixed bag. Yeah, it's going to sell if you do what everyone wants to do, but I don't think it's necessarily going to make the most compelling story you could possibly make. So I have mixed feelings on it. But
I just feel like the place I come from is just they want Doctor Doom to be like, I would hope that Robert Downey Jr. like went and looked at the comics and went, hey, you know, I really have my eye on this character, and if I'm gonna come back in the MCU, like he said, he's wanted to come back to the MCU, but I think there's two different. Think of Robert Downey Jr. like Two-Face, right? Yeah. I think there's the point after Endgame. Oh, I made shit ton of money, billions of dollars. It's great, right?
Yeah.
He did Dr. Doodle. He saw the other side of that rainbow. It sucked ass.
No, yeah.
and then he did Oppenheimer, and he went, hey, I got an Oscar. And
I also think that's why Chris Evans dipped his toe back into the Marvel waters with Deadpool and the Wolverine, because a lot of these people were on top of the world. Literally the biggest movie stars ever were Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. And then the problem is, since the movies were so popular and movie stars work different today than they did 20 years ago, 50 years ago, etc., they realized that they were hard fucking typecast, because they didn't play Iron Man for a trilogy and then hop off and do something else like you used to be able to do. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and stuff, they appeared so many times in so many big movies that you're no longer Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans. You're Captain America and Iron Man, if you like it or not. Unless you're retiring from acting, then that's what you got to do. I just hope I'm watching this movie in 2 years and I'm thinking, this is Doctor Doom. I don't want Iron Man to cross my mind. I want to be watching the movie and be taking Doctor Doom as a character seriously because of Doctor Doom, and not because of the knowledge that at one point this guy was also played Iron Man. Well, that's my hope. If they can succeed in that task and make me kind of suspend the disbelief and make him really compelling and make him feel like comics Doctor Doom, then I'm happy. And I know Robert Downey Jr. is going to do good no matter what he does. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just saying the only way I think they can land Doctor Doom, and this isn't anything against Robert Downey Jr. or anything, but the only way you can land Doctor Doom is if you make everybody forget this is once Iron Man and this is, Doctor Doom.
Well, I think, you have the angle of, if you show his face, you have the character angle. But I think, in terms of acting and in terms of selling that feeling, I feel like the number one thing that we need to, and even though that they built it up for Avengers 5, I think that our first real proper, they've said he's not the main villain, so don't expect a lot from him. But I think he's in enough of Fantastic Four that when we watch Fantastic Four, even if Fantastic Four is one of the worst, god-awful comic book movies on the planet, we'll have a feeling of how Downey plays Doom from just seeing what he's going to be like.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So that was obviously the biggest news, but there's still some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, what else we got?
James Gunn didn't bring a ton to the DCU stuff because he's still cooking Superman and everything is in pre-production, or, Superman's wrapped now in terms of filming, but they have a lot to do in editing and stuff. But they did bring Creature Commandos and showed a little trailer for that, and I don't have a ton of thoughts on it, but I do like that there was an art style. Like, some of the DCU movies looked a little flat. I mean, I wish the animation felt a little more high quality, just because, you know, this is the introduction to the DCU. I wish Warner Brothers put more money into it. But at the end of the day, I don't care. If the script is good, which I think, you know, James Gunn's scripting it, and he obviously showed he's good with weird ensembles with Guardians and the Suicide Squad, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm confident. I watched the trailer, and it kind of gave an idea of the characters, and not much else, and I think it was, you know, it was a good trailer, and I'm excited for it. That's probably the most hyped I am for a project coming up this year in terms of like nerd culture projects.
It's pretty solid. I mean, I think it just
looks solid. Yeah,
it looks like it's gonna be something fun, and looks like James Gunn's got that once again that ensemble fun he wants to do. And
I also like that they can kind of, since it's on HBO and everything, they can do like a hard PG-13 or R type of like pseudo horror. I also think it's gonna have elements of like Universal Monsters, which was the first kind of go at a cinematic universe in film, and I think it's cool. They got
voice actors in there too, which is kind of
which
is good.
I like that. I do like, and I'm sure that's part of the reason the animation hasn't like leveled up too much compared to the DC animated movies and stuff, is because they're paying so much for named actors to do the voices. You know, these aren't voice actors; these are, you know, Viola Davis and stuff is doing a DC cartoon. Like, what do you want? What do you want? That's probably not cheap. So I'm excited for it. They also showed off that they're doing the it was like late 70s to basically up till the DC logo of the early 2000s. I think it was like 2005 they switched over to the swoop DC logo, and then they did the weird condom logo, and then they switched to the current DC logo. Apparently for brand unity they're going back to that like the kind of classic 70s to 90s DC logo or early 2000s, and that's going to be the logo, and instead of doing like a flashy opening credits like Marvel, it's just going to be a quick Superman breaks the chains. It's Jerry Siegel style and goes into that, and I think it's kind of cool that they're honoring DC's legacy, because I'm a nerd for DC Comics, so I'm cool with that. James Gunn didn't bring a ton to Comic-Con, but what he brought was, you know, solid little peaks. I'm sure he's in the industry enough to know that Marvel was going to go crazy, and, you know, I don't think he wanted to really compete. I think he's, you know, still cooking enough that he didn't need to do anything. Let's see. Rings of Power is coming back. I hadn't watched season 1.
Oh, I want to talk about this.
I'm passing on Rings of Power season 2.
Season 1 was like, it was very boring. You definitely went out, and even if as a Lord of the Rings fan, if you like Lord of the Rings, this show will fundamentally make you not like the stuff that they're doing with it. But what I will say is, this second trailer, no one has to watch the second season, because all the spoilers are in this trailer. Like, literally. And I know there's been a lot of trailers that have done that before, but this trailer, like, you literally know everything you need to know. Like, you know they're having Sauron forge the rings and set up the Black Riders. You know Gandalf's in the show and we see his origin. You know, like you know everything. It's literally all the things that you know about Lord of the Rings. They're like, oh, why should we watch this show? So they have no faith in this show, so they're trying to market it, and they're just like...
Well, Amazon paid a lot of money for the marketing, because it's a weird marketing thing. They're also, unrelated to Rings of Power, Peter Jackson and Warner Brothers are coming back to do the anime. And they're doing a Gollum movie. But this year, they're releasing a Lord of the Rings theatrical anime movie from Warner Brothers, and the original team is producing and stuff, so... It's going to be interesting that there's like a battle of the Lord of the Rings content, so I bet
the Peter Jackson stuff will be better than what they're putting out right now, but I mean,
I think that'll be more based on what Peter Jackson laid the groundwork for. Though I thought those Hobbit movies were terrible, so I don't have absolute faith in either, but
I agree.
Whatever. Anyways, do you have any other thoughts on Comic-Con before we wrap it up?
I mean, I think we're pretty much good. I can't think of anything else that we really need to dive into unless you have more.
No, I think that's it. So that was all for episode 14 or volume 14 of the Joe and Connor's Power Hour. Stay tuned. My long 12-hour DCEU video is coming out pretty soon here. I also have Aiden's doing his own podcast, Ultra Boys, with some of his friends about video games and stuff.
They're gonna be about
it'll be a little different than this podcast. Cool. So if you like hearing me or Aiden ramble. That's something. And just subscribe to Jedi Joey.
I got some good
he's
stuff.
Always his content's more based on like new news and updates and reviews and stuff.
I've been
where
getting
mine's
into a lot more
just reviews.
I've been getting into reviews, and I've been doing more rankings. When I come home tonight, I gotta do. It's gonna take me a long time, but I'm gonna do this weird ranking where it's gonna be like based on enjoyment and how I think the projects are. It's a ranking of all the best MCU movies, but also it's gonna be MCU. The like Disney Plus TV shows are gonna be mixed in there, and like the specials, like Werewolf by Night, all those stuff will be mixed in there.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be doing lots of cool stuff like that. I've been working on a lot more theory videos. As I've gotten more popular, I changed my strategy a lot for a while. Once Cobra Kai started, I started focusing on Cobra Kai. Now that after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, and now that getting excited for and apprehensive, but also still very excited because I love Robert Downey Jr. I finally, after Star Wars is dead and screwed me over. Despite starting my channel literally with Star Wars themes and Star Wars names, I really am excited to talk about Marvel. Again, whether it's good or bad, the good stuff I'm really excited to talk about. The bad stuff, I want to talk about how bad it's going to be. And then I host a DC podcast every Tuesday night. And tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time, if you like talking about Cobra Kai, we will be doing, even if I don't make any Cobra Kai videos today, we will be talking about Cobra Kai on the Cobra Kai Strike First podcast, where I host with 3 to 4 other co-hosts. So it should be fun. I hope you guys will like it.
Yep. Okay, we'll see you next time. Maybe we'll probably actually do our Bruce Lee episode next time. This time we just thought we'd throw in a Comic-Con discussion.
We'll do Bruce Lee next time. I still gotta
thought
watch
it'd be
some of those
interesting,
movies.
and there were some updates since our Marvel video 2 weeks ago. So why not?
I gotta watch Game of Death soon.
Yep. All right, we'll see you next time.